I mean, it's very similar to the phrase you used. What the silence was omission or agreement or
Silence
something
is
like.
consent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's the same thing. Like, no matter what your stance about, let's take just COVID.
Yeah.
Is you're automatically in agreement with it by staying quiet or whatever your thing is about it. Everybody is now there's an allegiance to
Right.
some one side of the fence or the other.
And even inaction is an action, right? If you decide to do
Indeed, yeah,
nothing about the virus, that's totally your option, but that like inaction is an action. And
yeah,
that sort of realization, like, all right, and that's where that I think that's where the song and the title of Toward the Fray comes from. Like, even like look around the environmental issues, the way that women and minorities are still treated in our culture, the vast inequalities that we're experiencing, the vast consolidation of wealth at the top. This is the shit, and it is happening now. The polar caps are melting. It was
yeah,
75 degrees here on Christmas Day in North Carolina. Like,
yeah.
hello, it's happening right
Oh,
now, and there is no inaction is action. And so we were all it like the record is a little bit kind of in your face in the same way that it is all kind of in our face right now. There's no avoiding this,
agreed.
so the topics that we're covering, the things we're writing about, it all feels much more, I've spent a lot of time wanting to write music that was really uplifting and wanting to try to orient myself toward the light and toward positivity, and that's still my orientation basically, because I'm a very optimistic person and hopeful, and I love to smile and enjoy myself, right? But there is kind of no denying that we're in the shit, and so even those songs that I brought to the table that were still sort of in line with wanting to kind of set a hopeful vibe are still a pretty stark look at the situation that we're in, and
Mm-hmm.
that I'm in, even like songs I'm writing while I'm in like the first 2 months of the pandemic. That's this record is a whole lot more raw and a whole lot more honest, I think, than anything we've done before.
Okay, okay. I mean, I think both of the things you just mentioned are responsibilities of the artist. One, to mirror society so that people can see, you know, maybe what's going on, or frame it in a new way that people can get perspective on it. But it's also can be an escape too. Like, while this is awful and it's happening, there's still this, so music
Yes.
and art in general has both sides to it. And I think the role of the artist is to it's a delicate balance, maybe, of when to hold up the mirror and then when to be like,
Yeah.
okay, that's enough, let's take a breather,
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
because both have their place. And I do think it's a
Yeah.
it's a responsibility. And I mean, I used to kind of have this rant about so much of the music I was hearing wasn't reflecting the culture and didn't have something to say
Yeah.
about what was going on. And then I used to talk to other musician friends, and I'm like, what is that? And then the how the conversation would go is like, well, maybe that is it. We live in this super technology infused culture that, humanity is taking a back seat to the robots. And
Yeah.
that's how music is reflecting that,
Yeah.
right now. And I'm like, well, it's kind of,
Yeah.
like, we're still here. We're the ones that can make decisions for the robots. And that's, again, another heavy topic. But um I think that's amazing that you guys took the liberty and the place of the artist to do that, to address the things. Did you feel an innate responsibility in doing that as a band, or is that just kind of what came out when the world was flipping upside down?
I think that that's mostly just kind of what came out. I mean, I when the pandemic started, I started doing a show. I was able to get friends to come, and we'd do a live stream. And I started this show. It's called the Travis Book Happy Hour, and I would play some music, and then I would because I was working, like I was doing like Instagram Live, trying to reach out to people and be just try not to go crazy in like the
Sure.
first few months. And I realized that there was a little bit of an audience. People were feeling really disconnected from each other. So I started the show and started inviting friends to come out, and I'd interview them, play some music, wax philosophical on a few things, and then we'd play together. We'd play, 8 or 10 songs together, sort of a collaborative mode. And a lot of the tone of that show and the things I was talking about on that show was it was very much sort of like you say, like sort of riding this line of being sort of honest about where we were, and honest about how I was feeling, and then also trying to sort of awaken some degree of compassion for the predicament that we were in.
Mhm.
That